All right, guys, so today we are going to work on installing our enclosure cabinet for the Flashforge AD5X. I bought this thing a little bit earlier this year, and one of the things I really wanted to do is enclose it like my Adventure 5N Pro. I like the fact that everything stays sealed. The dust, I keep mine in my garage. It tends to get a little dusty. So I wanted to make sure I got some kind of enclosure for this. And there's actually an enclosure available for the AD5X. When I ordered this, I ordered it with the enclosure kit. So that way I can enclose it. So this video today is about installing this enclosure kit. What the enclosure kit consists of when you pay for that online, what you actually get, and what you still need to get for this to work. So come along with me today and let's see exactly what it takes to put this enclosure on this AD5X Flashforge. All right, so let's see exactly what we get. So when I ordered my AD5X from Flashforge, I chose the option to get the enclosure kit with it. So let's see exactly what that enclosure kit consists of and what it does not consist of. So that way you're more informed with that if you do order the enclosure kit. So when I ordered my AD5X from Flashforge, I chose the option for the enclosure kit. And when I got my printer, if you guys see my video, I have an unboxing video. I'll put that up here. There's an unboxing video and a setup video that I created for this printer. You'll see that I was searching around in the box for the enclosure kit. I realized that I had everything I needed to set up the printer minus the enclosure kit. So that kind of left me concerned. So after the video, after I got done posting the video, I contacted Flashforge and asked them about where's my enclosure kit. And their response was the enclosure kit is shipping separately from the printer and it's going to take a couple days. Well, what I found out was when you order your printer with the enclosure kit, the enclosure kit is coming from overseas, from Flashforge's main headquarters. I believe it's in, don't quote me on this, I don't know, it's in China somewhere. I forget the name exactly. So when I ordered this, it put an order in for my enclosure kit, which took a little bit longer. So I think it took about 2 more weeks for me to get the enclosure kit. When I got the enclosure kit, let me show you what I got. And so this is what I got when I ordered this kit. So you get the instruction installation guide that has all of the instructions on how to install that. And then what you get in this box here is plexiglass and hardware, right? So you get plexiglass, hardware, and I think underneath here some more plexiglass. This is all the plexiglass you need to seal it. It does not have any of the brackets or not even sure framing on where to put this. And so I was like, okay, am I missing another box? What's going on? So I did a little research online, and what I found out is the enclosure kit is what you're paying for is really just the plexiglass and a link to 3D print files to print out all of the framing that you need to install this kit. And let me show you what that is. Okay, so like I said, what you get in the box isn't everything you need to install this enclosure kit. You also have to 3D print many other components to this, which I wasn't aware of. Not sure if I would have done it had I known, but this is what I printed out. Let me show you here. Okay, so you see all this here. you need to 3D print all of these components aside from purchasing, I guess, from purchasing the plexiglass that it comes with. Now, I'm not trying to complain or anything. I guess maybe I should have did a little bit more research before I started this project and paid for the enclosure kit. Not sure, all depending on how this comes out once I install it. But I can tell you, just to get to this point here was a marathon. Each of these prints consists of, so if you print out a corner at a time, right, of components. So a corner consisting of, that would be like this piece here, and one of these guys here. That is about an 8-hour printing job, right? So each of these sections, if you will, so if I were to put them all together, like this and like this, let's just say those pieces there, right? That, and that. That was an 8-hour print. That was an 8-hour print. That was an 8-hour print. That was an 8-hour print, right? With all these 4 components in each of these sections. I don't have them componented out like I did on this one. And then you need to print out these components, which are like the door latches, right? The door, oh, I think I just lost something over there. Something just fell. So, and then not to mention, not just those, you need to print out these individual components here, which are like the door latches, the door hinges, the locking mechanism, the feed area for where your filament goes through, and the plexiglass. These were about a 2-hour print or so. So fortunately, I have 2 printers. So I had each of those going at the same time, printing out a corner, and then individual. So it was about a 2-day print marathon of printing these components, which I guess is a testament to the quality and the reliability of these machines. They were able to handle it no problem. That was one of my concerns is, what if one messes up halfway through? That's 4 hours wasted. That's 4 hours worth of filament wasted. Yikes, have to start all over. So, fortunately I had 2. Now, if you just have that one, you're probably talking about a week's worth of print. Let's just say you bought the AD5X and you bought the enclosure kit and you started printing out your print. That's about a week's worth of printing just to get this enclosure on, right? Not to mention the amount of filament I had to go through to print that. I think I went through like a spool. As you can tell, I went through a spool here and I ran out. I started doing black, and then I had white going and I had yellow going. I thought, you know what? I'm just gonna print them out in different colors. It just kind of shows the flexibility of the printer being able to print in the different colors and whatnot. So anyways, long story short, so once you purchase this, you get your printer and you're waiting on this, start printing these out. These files are available online. You can go to Flashforge's website on their support, and they will have the files for you to download and start printing these components while you're waiting for that to come in that 2-week time span, if that's what happens in your situation. So long story short, I'm going to clean these up because some of these still have some supports on them, and they print out this way. And I just need to clean them up. As you can see here, I still have some junk I need to clean off of it. And then I'm going to get started on installing this and take you along with me in this adventure, because I have no clue as to what I'm doing, and we're going to learn together. So why don't you come learn with me? So I want to show you guys how these print out. So when you print these out, they're going to print with supports. As you can see on this piece here, there's a big support there, there's support there, and there's some supports in there. And you have to clean them out. Basically what you're looking for, the end result. And fortunately, they break off really easily. The supports are printed at much less density than what like your regular print would print at. So this is thicker than that. So this breaks before this will break, right? This is eventually what this piece will look like once you get done cleaning it. You can see you have some holes there. a slot there and a slot right here. Then on the other side, you can see there's some holes there and there, which is being covered up by the support. So what I like to do is, I'm gonna try and do this with one hand just to show you roughly. I use my my wife's Cricut pick for her Cricut work. This works great. I think this is called like a weeder, is what they call that. So when you're doing your Cricut work, you can weed out the bad you can weed out the bad Cricut pieces. I'm not sure exactly that's what it does, but I use this and I just kind of come in here and I poke at it and I peel it up, and it just breaks away real nice and clean, and it gives you a nice clean hole like that. So I just wanted to show you exactly how they print out. They're going to print with supports. Like for example, this piece here doesn't have the supports on it. I already cleaned it. But if you look at this piece here, it's got like a brim. You see that? Like a brim support on it. And I think that's all on this one. You just have to clean out the brim on it. These pieces, I kind of already cleaned them. This one I need to clean up here. There's some holes. And they print with like tree supports, which I've already kind of break away. They just break away very easily. These are like tree supports. So when this part prints, this is like attached to it somehow. And you just kind of break it away and it just breaks off and stuff. Makes for a really neat looking like tree though, if you wanted to use it for like Halloween. But just wanted to show you roughly what you'd have to trim away at it in order to get these parts to work. So I went ahead and cleaned up the parts from the supports that were still on them, and I painted the non-black pieces black, as you can see here. So I'm gonna let these dry. They're still a little, they're pretty much dry, but they're still a little tacky, a little bit. I don't want to handle them just yet. I'll give them a couple more minutes to dry. But in the meantime, what I'm going to do is let's go back over to the bench and start getting our printer ready for the assembly process. All right, so I went ahead and I took the printer off the where I normally keep it. I brought it over here to the working table so that way I can get it ready and prep it. Some of the things we need to do is we're going to need to remove the spools here to gain access to this side. And that's just as easily as rolling the spool out and removing them. And then on the back side, I think we're okay there. It looks like it's pretty much free, and I don't believe anything goes here, but I guess time will tell when we start assembling these pieces together. One thing I did want to bring up though, since you guys can see it here, I 3D printed this. This is something I found on, I believe it was Maker World. And it's I forget who posted it on there, but it's a great idea. So this is the, as you guys know that have the AD5X, this is like the ejection port for any of the, like the clearing of the nozzles, that scrap that comes out. And normally it was just falling onto my table and falling onto the floor. So I saw this on Maker World, I believe is where I saw it, or it could have been Thingiverse. I 3D printed this. It's a really neat little garbage chute, if you will. It holds the all the scraps that come out when the nozzle changes colors. And it actually just clips right to the existing, there's screws here. They're existing on your machine now. You just take those off. After you 3D print this piece, you just screw them back up with the part on, the mount. And then it just kind of has like these grooves here and it just slides right in there, just like that. See? Pretty cool, right? And it was, just costing me a couple cents in filament to print. And it was actually, would make a great test print when you first set up your printer. I kind of wish I was something I would have did when I first started with the setup video. Is printing this garbage chute, if you will, the scrap chute bucket, because it makes a great little beginner starting project and testing out your printer, and it only took like 20 minutes to do. So all right, so let's go ahead and get this thing torn down, and then let's start getting it assembled. So, just to remove these, as you probably already know, but for those that don't, maybe this is your first time watching the video on this machine, thinking about whether or not to buy it, this is such an easy process. You just literally back it out. You're just gonna back it out like so until it's out. And then you're gonna take this guy off. And there you go. It's that simple. So we're gonna go ahead and do it for the rest of them. And then we'll start working on the assembly. I'm glad I put this thing up. If you guys haven't seen my video on this, it's a quick little video on how to mount this little rack system for your filament. But now I have somewhere to put them while they wait. They have a little waiting spot there for to go back on the machine there. All right, so we have the spools off. And I believe we may have to pull these guys off as well, which just slide right up real simple and easily here. And then once we have those off, does that go up or down? I'm not really sure. It's coming off. It's just hard to get off. Once we have these off, then we'll start working on the next step here. Trying to do this one hand is kind of hard here. Let me try and hold the, there we go, so it's coming out now. There we are, okay. So we got those off. It's nice and bare the way it's supposed to be. And it looks like our first step is we're gonna install the hinges on this the guard plates, and they're labeled A2 and A1, as you can see right there. So if we look for A2 and A1, you can see that it's actually printed A1. That's D2. Maybe it's this guy here. Looks like it's got a hinge. Yep, A2. Okay. So we have to install the hinges on these guys. Once we have those installed, then we'll mount them to the machine here. Okay, so it looks like we're gonna need the M3 times 8. I think that's what that says there, yeah. M3 times 8 and M3 times 4. M3, 4 of them nuts. And so I guess that's gonna install in the, oh yeah. You can see it's got like a little groove for the installation for the nuts on the back side, and the front side has that. So let's go find those. We have the screws. Let's go find the nuts. So the kit comes with all the hardware that you need to install. And let's see, we're looking for the M38 nuts here and our little, there it is, those guys there. So let's go ahead and get these things going. And the kit also comes with the Allen heads and a screwdriver. Everything you need basically to install this. So let's go ahead and get this going here. So I'm gonna go ahead and get those guys installed in there. These are the little nut here, things here. That goes in there, like so. And then we'll put both of them in, I guess, since we're here now. Oh, don't wanna lose it. That in there, like so. Okay, and then we'll get the other thing. Let me, I'll come back to you. I need another hand here, so I gotta drop the phone. Okay. And then grab one of these guys, your hinge. And it looks like it goes on, if we're looking at the instructions here, it looks like this side goes into the into here, and then this side will go into the plexiglass, I'm guessing. Screws in that way into the plexiglass. Yeah, that looks like about right. So let's do that. There we go. Okay, both are on. Good to go, nice and free, moving. So the next step here, down here, is we need to assemble them. And they're just literally just gonna go like this. Like that. They don't actually snap together. You position them on the printer on there, you know, like so, and then you just screw them in. It looks like, so if you look on the back side here, they have these indentations that you see right there. Well, those are for these screws that you see right there, right? So there's an indentation for that, but this one needs to come off because that's what's actually going to hold the piece on on here. So let me show you what I'm talking about. You see that there? You can see the screw back behind there. If I take that off, put it back on, it's gonna hold it, but the other screw, he's hidden in there. And that goes to the same for this side. Actually, on this side, if you look at it, there's screws there, right? But you have indentations, or cutouts, I should say. So that way this screw doesn't hinder the install. And then there's another screw spot here. It looks like there's actually threads in there. So and the screws come with the kit to screw this guy in here. We're gonna take these 2 top screws off and then put them back on once the piece is on. And then we'll work on the bottom piece as well. So we install the top using the existing screws, install the bottom using the existing screws, and then you grab your M4 6 screws that come in the kit to do the remaining screws that are missing there. So let's go ahead and get those. Looks like we need 4 of them. Okay. So for the next step is we're going to continue on the same pattern with installing these guide plates. The guide plates basically at all 4 corners. And then I'll come back to you. If anything changes from this standard way of doing it here, then I'll come back to you and show you what the difference would be like for the other side. So stay tuned, I'll be right back. So I thought we were ahead of the game and we're still behind the game. Actually, step 4 in the book is asking us to remove the clips, not the spools. Remove the spool clips. And you're gonna do that. There's some Allen heads holding those on there. And you're gonna get your Allen head, the right size, of course. And we're gonna remove all 4 of those guys. And then we get to install the remaining guide plates on this corner and that corner. So stay tuned. All right, guys, so we're here now on the final corner here for our guide plate, but there's one problem that we're having. That problem is this will not work with this in the way. So we have to remove this guy in order to give access to this piece to fit on this corner and reinstall the display, which I'm still not at that step yet, and I'm curious to see how that goes. So why don't you follow along and let's find out.
Houston, we have a problem.
Okay. So when you remove this display screen, be very, very careful. What you're supposed to do is, if you can see back here, these little clips right there, it just slides in, right? You have these little grooves up here and you just slide it out. Do it very carefully. Stop right here. Don't do anything. Don't move past this step until you listen to what I just said. Do that very carefully. And why do I say that? Don't do what I just did. I thought I was removing it very gingerly, very nice and smoothly, and I guess I gave it a little bit too much force. And I just kind of ripped the ribbon cable right out the back of the display. You can see it here. What to do, what to do. Jeez. This is why I'm doing this for you guys, so you guys don't do what I just did, okay? I'm gonna try and get this connected back in here, but not until I install this first, because I don't want to do this again. I'm hoping it just kind of unclipped out by the looks of it. It looks like it just came out of the clip. I hope so. Time will tell. so we got all the guide plates installed. We still have to figure out the display thing. I'm hoping that will just slide back in the clip there and I can lock it in place. Fingers crossed on that. Thinking that's gonna fix it. Time will tell. But I did skip a step. It looks like step 5. When I removed let me slide that over here. When I removed the clips for the spools, when I removed these guys, I was supposed to reinstall them in that step. So I'm gonna do that now. I'm gonna reinstall these guys back where they're supposed to go. But it looks like we're gonna be using, it looks like it comes with some new screws, a little bit longer screws to attach those to because there's a little bit more thickness that the screws have to go into. So let me go back to the kit and see if I can find those. All right, so the next step is you're gonna grab this, this guard plate here and you're gonna install, it comes with some magnets. You're gonna install magnets in these. I already pressed one in, but there's another one we gotta press in. Just press these magnets in there. And then I believe that's gonna install up here on the, right up there somewhere. So let me get the magnets installed and then we'll see where that goes after that. So you install that, just right in here, it slides in to these 2 brackets here. Just be careful with your cable or your display. But I'm just gonna try and route that around it here. Like so, and slide that in, like so. And then the magnets we installed just magnetize to the back of this so it doesn't move around. I'm gonna try and pull this cable out and then see if I can get that back installed on my display now. Okay, so once you have this installed, I think they call this the guard plate here. You reinstall the display in the same manner that it installs on here. On the guard plate, there's 2 little slots that when you get the display in the right spot, you're able to slide it towards the left, and it'll slide right into those slots. At first it might seem like, wait, what am I supposed to do? But it'll make sense when you get to this point. You get it in there and it slides right into those slots, and then that secures it in its place. And by the way, I was able to get that ribbon cable. Luckily, it just slid out of its port. It kind of unlocked itself and slid out. So I was able to slide it back in and lock it back into place, and we're good to go. Whew. I got lucky on that one. But be careful when you're removing this originally from the frame. If you're installing the enclosure after you've been using your printer for a while. Now, if it's a new out of the box printer, you don't have to worry about it. If you have all your components ready to go for when you get it, you just install it and then you don't have to worry about any of that. But that wasn't my case. So, all right, so we're gonna get on to the next step. Enough with the jibber jabber. All right, so now next up is we're gonna install the acrylic plates, these guys here. But in order to do that on this side, where you have the automatic feeder system, you need to remove this. And to remove this, you just spin it one of these ways, like that. Just move them out of the way for now. That way you have room to work here. And then we're going to remove the mounting system. So for that, we need to get our Allen heads here. And let's remove that. Oh boy, that one's in there good. Who assembled this thing? Man, must have had some muscle. Screw is really tight. All right. Let's get that guy out of the way. Like so. And then grab one of your sheets here. And I think there's like a film on top of it. I'm gonna take them off, take it off here. I'm trying not to get no fingerprints on it. That's gonna be hard. Okay. Pretty clear, right? And then that's just gonna slide right down in here, like so. Okay. A little hit down in there. Wasn't really tight, so just try and get it in there, not try and do too much damage as you do it. Kind of scratched it a little bit. And yep, looks like it lines up perfectly with the screw holes for the mount here. So this mount should just mount right back in place. There might be some new screws to use, yeah. And I'm pretty sure there's some longer screws in the kit to remount this, but we'll get to that step when that step comes around. For now, I'm just going to focus on getting these slid in there. I'm going to work on the other side now. Okay, so we got the door on the hinges. It comes with some screws. It looks like these guys, they're ST 9.5s. They're like a, what do they call those? A wood screw, I guess? Because it's got like a tip on it, so then it screws into the plastic hinge here. And so you just mount this up to the hinge, and then you tighten these up, and that should take care of the door. So I'm gonna get it started, and then I'll get the knob installed as well. All right, so we got the door installed here. We got the doorknob in here, and we have the hinges installed right there and there. And then it does have adjustments on it so that you can slide it up or down. I didn't really have to adjust it too much. It seemed to kind of be in the perfect spot. And then the doorknob has the little magnets on it that you see here. And it's great because there's a little notch right there that it fits into. Oop, and it seals that. I don't know if you saw that. So, it seals that just like that, and it's perfect. It sits right in there nice and tight. And it's not 100% sealed. You can see there's a little crack up here. But mostly what I'm after is just keeping the dust out. So looks like so far it's coming together pretty nicely, but we still need to work on the top section. So let's get started on that. The next step we're going to focus on now is we're going to install the upper guard plates. And let's see here. I think I need to leave that feeder off until the end. Yes, I sure do. Okay. So let's go ahead and install the upper section, and then the top section, and we'll finish this thing off. Okay, for the upper section then, what we're gonna do is we need these pieces here, which are A3, D3, B3, and C3. That's what those look like. And those are gonna install up here on top, like so. And then there'll be a sheet of acrylic that goes here as well on all four corners, on four sides. And in order to install that, it looks like we're going to need some screws here. The ST 3.5. There should be 12 of those guys for us. So let's go and find those. And it looks like one of them actually has the cutout, and I'm guessing that's going to go on this side where the feed goes in through for the tubes here. So those are going to slide into the into there. So we'll see. Right, and then again, you want to make sure you're putting the right side. So this is a D4. This is a B4. So you want to make sure this corner is A, B, C, and D. So make sure you put them in that correct spot. I'm looking for A. Here's A. Okay. So I'm going to install A here, and it's got little prongs on it here that they just press into those little slots right there that you see here. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so the last step is to install the top cover. So this is the top cover here, and you just put this knob in there with it, and it just screws in with your screws that come with the kit. They're those wood screw looking type. It's the ST2.9 screws. But it just screws right in there. And then that piece just fits right up here on top. It just fits right into the, like a slot here that it just pops into. And that seals the kit, that seals the printer. All that's left to do now is just reinstall our feed system, which is this guy here, as well as the bracket that holds it in its place. And to do that, you're going to use some screws that come with the kit. They're a little bit longer to accommodate that extra thickness that it has to go through. All right, guys, so I'm going to show you now how I, sorry for the glare. Let me get away from there. I'm going to show you now how I removed this portion out of the head. This portion. How I removed this guy out of the head there. So I'm just going to reinstall it to show you. And that just kind of goes back in like so. Right? And then I'm trying to get good angles to show you guys here so you can really see what I'm doing. Hopefully it's not too dark. Hopefully you guys can see that okay. Let me zoom in on that a little more there. Okay, so there's a screw normally in here. You're gonna take the screw out, right? And you won't be able to lift it out because you see there's like a little collar in here. That collar needs to be pressed down. Well, before I even get to that point, when you take the screw out, then you'd have to remove, there's a little clip, that little blue clip that I just put back in there. So what you do is you pop this guy out, and he's gonna go flying. I want him to go flying. I'm trying to get a good angle for you guys to see what I'm doing. Hopefully that's a good enough angle. Let me tilt it down a little bit. You see that there? Is that too far down? There it is right there. Okay. So you take that clip out. So I took that clip out. You see that right there, right? And then you'll see there's a that flange piece. You have to press that down, and that snaps down like so. Then that frees this assembly to come sliding right out. And then the installation is just going to be the reverse. You're going to press that in. You're going to pop this flange up. And I don't probably have the right screwdriver for this. Need like a thinner head. There we go. So it popped up. So now it won't come out. It's locked. You see that? Sorry for the shaking. It's locked. It won't come out. You see that? And then from this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my blue clip again. And then I'm going to insert that blue clip in that slot. Like so. Like that. And that just ensures that that flange doesn't slide down accidentally, which it shouldn't because it snaps into place. And then from that point on, I'm just going to reinstall my the screw that goes in there, which I don't know where I put it right now, but you just reinstall the screw right in this area here, tighten it up, and then you're going to put your door back, the head cover back on, which is this guy. And there's little magnets back here. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. And so the way it works is you just kind of pivot it, it hinges on the top here, and it just magnetizes right back to where it goes there. You probably didn't see that because I'm zoomed in too far. So let me do that again, show you what I did. So again, to install this piece, there's magnets right there, and then it just kind of sits here. It hinges on the top, and then it just snaps in with the magnets there. And that's it, you're ready to go, ready to start printing. Okay, so one thing I forgot to do is there's actually a spacer block right in here that you 3D print, and that's needed to bring this mount away from the plexiglass, because what I noticed, it was rubbing up against the plexiglass, and I don't think that would have been good. So that's what this block was for, that you 3D print out right there. So you insert that in between, and then that's why they give you such long bolts to reattach this mount to the printer. But with that being said, I believe, and then we're just going to snap that right back where it goes, like that. All right, guys, so it's all done. Take a look here. This is the final build, the final product of the Enclosure kit. We got the top piece on. I just kind of painted the top with the paint marker to make it all match here. Try to make it look somewhat decent. We got everything reconnected except for this wire. Let's reconnect that now. Since we saw that, it's always good to go around and make sure you got everything back to normal here. Because you could see it really made it a lot taller. And then you have the top door. This thing just kind of comes out like so, give you access to it if you need, and then it just kind of sits right back in that little space there, like so. The display's mounted nicely. You have a door here now. You get access to your models that you just printed. It's got magnets on the little door handle there. It remagnetizes itself, sticks it right back in there. Got all of our spools mounted in the right direction, making sure that you have that rebound going opposite, or that way it coils it back down, makes the filament nice and tight when it's not using it. Yeah, so this is it. Sit here, pretty good, not too bad. It is labeled as a do-it-yourself kit, so this is something, it's not like a professional thing. If it did, it probably would come from Flashforge already like this. But not too bad. One of the things I kind of wish I would do here, I think I'm going to do, is I'm going to paint this in here, the AD5X logo with a white marker, so that way it stands out there. But yeah, that's it there. So guys, that's the AD5X with the Enclosure kit installed. Overall, the installation was pretty simple. It wasn't really that hard to do. The instructions were very clear. It came with all the hardware I needed to do it, in terms of like the screws and stuff. But obviously, I had to 3D print the guides, the major components, I guess, if you will, of that. And again, that could be anywhere from like a 2 to a week venture build or 3D print job for those pieces. But overall, I'm happy with it. I'm glad I bought it. I'm glad it's enclosed now. My models won't, they'll be printed out nicely. As this thing sits, it's not going to collect dust on the print area. It just makes maintenance for me a little bit easier because it's all enclosed. Hence why, that's one of the reasons why I like the Adventure 5M Pro. It's all sealed in its own cabinet. And I'm in here in my garage and it gets kind of dusty. So I want something that's enclosed like that. And now I have my AD5X enclosed, so I don't have to worry about dust and stuff. Just building up and ruining my prints. But overall, yeah, would I do it again? Probably would do it again. It's definitely worth the extra cost. Now knowing what I know, and I hope you guys learned something from this, knowing what I know and now knowing what you know, Tell me, would you guys do this? Would you guys fork out the extra, I forgot what it was, $30, $40, $50, I forget exactly what I paid extra for the Enclosure kit. Would you fork it out? And knowing that you had to 3D print a lot of components that don't come with the kit? Leave me a comment down below, let me know what you guys think. But that's gonna do it for this video, guys. So make sure you guys like and subscribe if you like this type of content. I have all sorts of content on my channel. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Happy printing.